What's the deal? It's your boy Finesse Hustle, man. Back again with them hood prison stories. Before I get into it though, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's been following me so far and tuning in. Y'all see what's going on. I appreciate that. So this particular time I'm back down in Texas. I'm in TDCJ. The difference between TDCJ and TDC is the time. So anything from 2 years on up, you go to TDC. Anything from 2 years on down to 6 months, you go to state jail. That's what they call TDCJ. So this particular time I'm in F House. This is a lockdown unit. So the way they had it set up, they got 28 bunks on each side, and then they got a day room in the middle. And how the bunk set up is they caged in, and they got a bathroom on that side caged in too. So the way they feed us, they got a chuck hole slot in the cage, and you walk up and grab your tray. If it's 13 people over here, they gonna slide in 13 trays regardless of who grab them. So on each side, they got Mexicans, they got blacks, whites, whatever. So they got a particular group of Mexicans they call like Pisas or whatever, like Pisas, you know what I'm saying? They don't really speak no English and shit like that. The ones you probably see like at Home Depot, on back of trucks that's working, trying to survive or whatever. Then you got the Hispanics that's really in the gangs, they in the prison gangs, they in they little groups or whatever. So where I was at this time, it was more majority on the black side was Bloods. Then on the majority on the Mexican side was Houstons, and Houstons, they say they're not a prison gang, but they get in the shit in jail. So, but they bang their city. They try to separate themselves from like Rasa, Yunda, Texas Syndicate, and Mexican Mafia. So they can choose not to bang when they get out. So what was going on in the cages was when they slide the trays in, a lot of the black dudes, me included, I'm grabbing extra trays because we'll line up first. We ain't even in our assigned bunks. We got our bunks set up in the front, so when the food come through, when the good shit come through, like all breakfast food eatable, and then on them days where we got the chicken patties or whatever, the shit that the jail go crazy for, we grabbing that shit, and a lot of the Pisas weren't eating. So eventually they had to go to the Houstons and shit and try to get some respect through them or whatever. So it's really a catch game because Houston, they seen what was going on. These are already your people, but instead of standing on that shit then, they ain't want to stand on it until it was something into it, something in it for them, like protection. So back in the hole, you really can't put the pressure down on the motherfucker because there ain't really shit back there to get. You know what I'm saying? You probably go to the store for like $20, $30. You know what I'm saying? So once they seen that, that's when they put their gang down, try to go holler at the Bloods, and see what was going on, see how they could stop it. But really, that's just a catch game, so they could have them under their protection. So that's what they telling the Bloods. The Bloods weren't trying to hear that shit. They like, well, fuck it. If that's what y'all trying to do, y'all gonna have to stand on it and fight first, and then we'll respect that shit. So that's what was going on. So they called it lining it up. So lining it up mean one blood fight, one Houston, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So after that went on for a while, I see one of the Mexicans and one of the Pisas. I guess he's seeing that they standing on it for them and they little group. He go break a piece of the gate off. He tried to stab one of the Bloods. So shit, I still off on him. Now everybody that's in there that know I ain't a Blood, all the blacks, now that alerted them. So now they fighting. So now it done turned up now. So now it's a riot and shit. So they come in and open the door, and they got all the gas. They coming in with the gas balls, and they'll throw that in there in the cage, and it'll spin around and gas everybody. So by this time, we already got t-shirts on our face. We already know the drill. You know what I'm saying? They got gas. The police got gas masks on. So basically, what they trying to do is come in there and distract the people that they see keep going crazy and that bitch steady fighting and shit. So now they up at the cage spraying certain people with the mace, but they ain't opened the cage yet. So at this time, some of the blacks, they stumping out two of the Mexicans and shit. It's blood everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So now a lot of them, they kind of surrendering and shit, like really trying to get out the gate now. Motherfucker, we steady beating on their ass. But this going on both sides, and keep in mind, it's mace. And then when you in the hole everything come off. So we don't got clothes. We just in our boxers and our boots and shit. So, you know, we know the police coming in. So we now it been so chaotic. We got time to put baby oil on us because they finna try to come in there and push us over with they little shields and all that shit. You know how that shit go. So that's how we gonna get up out of that shit and keep fighting and shit. You know what I'm saying? We already ain't got no clothes on, so we in that bitch. So that shit go on. This shit probably lasted for like 20 minutes and shit. They end up settling that shit down after motherfuckers got tired and all that shit, and motherfuckers started really walking themselves to that gate like saying they good. So they end up taking the two Mexicans. They had to take them out of the facility and take them to a free world hospital and shit and do whatever they had to do with them and shit. So basically all that happened, they just locked us down more, looked at the cameras, but everybody just got extra time. A lot of them got shipped out, you know what I mean? So it'd be hard though when a black person gets shipped out because a lot of these jails is in areas where it ain't for us. Like if you go down to like Corpus Christi and shit like that, to like Garza unit and shit like that, it's all Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? You can't even, they don't even want a nigga or a white boy to sit on the bench. You gotta stand up. So that's how they get the blacks and break us up and shit. But shit, we already know when you on the chain, that's what they call a shipment. As soon as you get there, if it ain't a lot of your kind, the first person you see, you still off on them. They gonna put you in a hole. You gotta get shipped back to where your people at. Soon as you don't fight, soon as you get in that bitch, and they see you gonna be a problem, you gonna be well, not even sitting. You gonna be standing at the, you know what I'm saying, in the day room. You can't even sit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that, you know. So luckily, I ain't get shipped off that time. So I was cool. Motherfuckers just did the rest of my time. I went home from the whole, you know what I'm saying, off that one and shit. But man, like I said, man, I appreciate everybody that's rocking with me and tuning in. You know, this is shit I done been through. I've been doing this shit since I was 11. I ain't glorifying it or nothing like that. I'm just, you know what I'm saying, trying to form the uninformed, you know. So keep fucking with me.